Yeah, I don't know if that thing's a little too soft for me, that intro. We got to fix up that intro. But again, we are sweeping the league. It's Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Central. Rudy Campos Jr., Trey Collis, Coach Gio on the way, hopefully. He is the late one of the bunch. And we are joined, as always, as well with Austin Hartsfield, our MLB insider, and also Sweep the League. I want to say celebrity because he gets mad every time we
Oh,
say
you do all the time.
So we're here sweeping the league again on Wednesday night. Hey, we're brought to you also by the Coast to Coast Network. Shout out to those guys out there at Coast to Coast Network. They do a very good job. Coach Gio joining us as well, late as usual, walking the dog. It's always something with Coach Gio, but hey, he joins us as always. Gio, what's up, man?
Not much. I was on the phone, so I ran
I
out of
didn't have that one
time.
on the bingo card.
Can we ask what the phone call was about? Was it a drug deal? That's what we want to know.
It wasn't a typical Chicago drug deal, no.
No.
But I was on the phone with someone. Maybe you'll find out sometime in the future. I don't know.
Ooh, whoa.
So is this someone
Why are we talking about me? I thought we had a show planned for today.
Because you were late.
We got to know the details, bro. We got to know the details. Anyway, we'll get to those details later on in the show. We are on for an hour on the Coast to Coast Network now. This is Sweep the League. Again, Rudy Campos Jr., Coach Gio, Trey Collis, the celebrity, the man himself, Austin Hartsfield, joining us tonight. Follow us on Twitter, at Sweep the League is mine, at Coach Gio, double O at the end. That's for Gio. Trey is at Trey3025, Austin, at Hartsfield, and the key letters MLB, of course, at the end of that. Guys, we got a lot to get into. We have under an hour left in this show. And obviously it was the big news of NBA. I mean, NBA had a bunch of news coming out today. We woke up to the twilight zone in the NBA. Everything from Chris Paul to Kawhi Leonard, two coaches getting basically dismissed. And last but not least, the Dallas Mavericks. Are they catering to one Luka Doncic, Donnie Nelson gone after X number of years? We've got to definitely get into all this here. First things first, Chris Paul tests positive for COVID. I was just on a podcast, the Two Shots podcast. Shout out to Joe Garcia out there. And something was mentioned on there. Is this a false positive by Chris Paul? I mean, it did come out that it was a positive COVID test. Could it be a false positive? I want to know what you guys think of this because I feel bad for the guy. Here we go again. Chris Paul just has the worst luck in NBA playoff history. What do we know about this COVID test here? Somebody jump in. Give me your thoughts on this COVID test here.
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate. As you said, Rudy, Chris Paul has had tons of things happen through him through playoffs, but now a positive COVID test. Not really sure if it's completely positive. I guess we'll find out sooner than later, but it's a tough break for Chris. I mean, he's been phenomenal. This guy, everywhere he's been to the postseason. I mean, he's carried this team. I mean, last year took OKC to the playoffs. I mean, this is a guy that just comes in and plays, and he's just been hurt for most of his playoff runs, unfortunately. But now, COVID, I mean, didn't see this coming. Did not see COVID.
Nobody did.
Maybe a hamstring, maybe a knee, but COVID? It's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, Austin, give me your thoughts on this COVID thing, man.
It's absolutely ridiculous that it's going to rob us of one of the greatest playoff runs that I've ever seen, like from a single player. Like, come on. You can't sit here and tell me that this hasn't been fun watching CP3 every night, dice up defenses, make everyone around him better like he does year in and year out. And now we finally get on this run. Everybody's talking about the Chris Paul factor, and all of a sudden we get this test. It's just genuinely sad, man.
For sure. Trey?
First off, hold the brakes, Austin.
They're
going to get a week. They're getting a week off.
I've had watching somebody since Kawhi's run.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that aspect. But pump the brakes. I think I read he's going to take another test where we're not going to know anymore till Saturday. Even if he is in protocol, he got the vaccination. He can't spread it. He can't change anything like that. So it's not going to be if at all Jalen Rose had this right on the number, he's only going to miss one game at most, because I think the prolonging of the NBA semifinals are right now, they're going to get a week off or maybe a week and 2 days off or a day off, whatever the case, depending on how that Clippers Clippers Jazz series goes. So hold the brakes. We're not going to be deprived of CP3 moments. I think he's still going to be. Just in case, but be positive, man. I think that it was a false positive, and I think if he is vaccinated, he's not going to be the severe penalty where he's going to, like the Levert thing in Indiana, where he's going to miss 2.5 weeks. I think he's only going to miss maybe one game at the most.
Okay, so say he's going to miss. I mean, protocol says what, 10 to 14 days on COVID, roughly, if you're diagnosed with it. So say 14 days. You've got Game 5 tonight, which is still 2-2. Whoever's going to win, obviously, you got to win another game. Say Game 6 is, say it's tied 3-3 after Game 6. We know Kawhi's
Game 7.
Yeah, so we know Kawhi's injury is going to play a part in this. Obviously, we're expecting Utah to just roll over the Clippers here in the next 2 games. But if it gets to a Game 7, you're talking what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 7 days before, 7 to maybe 9 days before we see a Western Conference final start. So he may miss games 1 and 2, if that. Cameron Payne has been playing out of his ass lately. Yep. So is he enough to dispel a missing Chris Paul for those first 2 games? He's got to be. He's playing out of his mind.
I think well, what's lucky about this is it's a Kawhi Leonard news, right? And we'll get into that a little bit later. Kawhi Leonard not playing. I think if the Suns were going to play the Clippers, I think they needed Chris Paul. But with them playing the Jazz, which I think is going to win in 7 games. I still think it's going to go 7. I think they don't need Chris Paul majority for that series because of playoff experience on both sides. They don't have much on both sides, right? So I think if they avoid the Clippers, they really don't need Chris Paul. But if they play Utah, Utah is home court advantage. All you got to do is steal 1. So if he does miss 1 game, it comes back in Game 2, they'll win Game 2, whatever the case may be, or they can hold home court and then come back and win Game 5 or Game 7, whatever the case may be. But the Clippers do a lot with all that playoff experience, with Kawhi Leonard being gone. I think that helps the Suns' chances of moving on even without Chris Paul. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, so speaking of Chris Paul as well, we're hoping that he does come back. We have from Periscope on Twitter, good friend Mr. Ass, it says it's a minimum of 10 days, regardless. If I'm not mistaken, it should be at least 1 game. I'm thinking he misses 1 game. Now, if it's a false positive, then he's not going to miss any time at all. So we may not have to worry about that. Yeah. But one thing that is definitely a positive, clause out. ACL done.
Whoa, positive?
Is he going to come back with an ACL tear?
But how is that a positive thing, though? I'm confused.
No. I'm saying positive as in it's fact. It's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know about Chris Paul. Don't start giving me the bullshit stuff about why are you being all happy of Kawhi's injury. No, not that positive. I'm not doing that. No, not like that. We are positive for sure that Kawhi Leonard is not going to play the rest of this year. You had Trey's boy, LeBron James, come out saying, I told you at the beginning of the year, you shouldn't have extended the games, not so many games, yada, yada. Trey's has his hands on his eyes because he cannot believe his idol, LeBron James, came out and said that. He cannot believe that. But Kawhi is out, and this is definitely going to change the series when it comes to Utah and the Clippers. Austin has so much to say about Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi Leonard was Austin's favorite player for many, many years. I know that for a fact. Yeah. What is this going to do for the Clippers, Austin? I mean, obviously, it's probably going to end the season for them right now. But what more does it do for the Clippers?
It's going to force Paul George to be really good, and not this kind of fake good feeding off Kawhi that he's been the last couple of games. I forgot where I heard. I think it was Russell and Simmons this week. They've only had 30-point games in the same game 5 times in their careers, and there's 2 in the past. I think it was 2 games or something like that. Mm-hmm. So you go from having this Kawhi, who again we were talking about, like, okay, 0-2 Kawhi, it's 0-2 Kawhi, and now all of a sudden you take that away and you force Paul George, who I have zero faith in, and I just don't believe that he can run an offense. I don't. It's just it's frustrating to watch. And as much as I love watching Kawhi, I hate watching Paul George equally as much. So I don't think they have a shot, honestly, unless Kawhi's back, which he won't be.
Yeah, and before I go to Trey, because we want to get Trey's honest opinion on LeBron. Gio, give me the rundown real quick. Claw's out. Obviously, Paul George, pandemic P, pushover P, whatever you want to call him in this playoff series.
Pandemic
He
P?
has to step up. There is no way pandemic P or pushover P can make this Clippers team that much better to defeat one of the better teams in the Western Conference. Am I right?
You're correct, Rudy. I just don't see it. I mean, he's going to have a Herculean effort against the Jazz team at home, who's played very well in this playoffs. I just don't see it. I just don't see a point where he can have a Kevin Durant style game where he's dominating on almost every facet of that. He's going to have to do that. Unless the role players can step up on the road, it's going to be a tough environment. I just don't see the Clippers having enough. So it's going to be a no for me, dog.
That's right. Randy Jackson of the Sweep the League world says it's a no from me, dog. Trey, let us know, why are you so pissed off that LeBron came out? And I said it on Twitter this morning. I said, you have CP3, you have the Kawhi news, you have coaches firing. LeBron is not going to sit back and allow the league to get the spotlight without saying something. Lo and behold, your boy said something. Give us the
why
rundown.
is he my first
He's your boy. He plays on the same
ever,
team.
Don't ever like that ever again. So
We apologize.
can LeBron James just okay? Thank you. Can he just stay at the damn spotlight for one freaking playoff? My freaking gosh!
No.
First off, was he crying last year? They were in the bubble
All the time.
in the Miami Heat. And the Miami Heat were all injured. Did he say anything about that being injured? No, that's part of the game, right?
Yeah.
This has nothing. I mean, he's a cry. He just can't stay out of the spotlight. And this tweet of him saying he's going to step up and be the voice of the. No, you're not. No one's listening. Have you not realized you're the most hated player right now? No one's paying attention to you. No one even likes you anymore. Just stay away. You're getting old. You're not the best player in the world. We saw who the best player in the world last night was, Kevin Durant. We saw that. Just stay off Twitter. Say whatever. Just stay off. I'm tired of you. Stay out of this limelight. We have great 25 and younger stars in this league, and you're taking the limelight away from them and still shining on you because apparently we still care about you for whatever God reason. We don't have no idea. But you got swept out of the first round. Your GOAT conversation's over. That's maybe why, but whatever the case may be. But going back to this motion of the 10th schedule and everything like that, are you freaking kidding me? They can play every other day. They get how many of y'all work 40, 50 hours a week, go out, go play rec ball 2 hours a week, go home, play with your kids, and stay until 1 o'clock. You can do it again, only get 4 hours of sleep. These guys only play a 2.5 hour game, maybe an hour round shoot around. They don't even practice in the NBA anymore. They have all treatment all around the world. Don't give me this bull crap that, it's hard on our bodies. Give me a freaking break. You're multi-million-dollar playing a freaking game. Stop whining and just do it. And the Chris Paul thing had nothing to do with the condensed season. It was just COVID out of luck. Kawhi Leonard's always freaking hurt. If you go back, he take one good healthy year. He always complained he has something wrong with him. It's just, and Mike Conley Jr., he's had a nagging injury all year. So don't give me all this bull crap about, it's condensed scheduling. You weren't complaining about when you're in the bubble. Stop it. It's bull crap. But going back to the Clipper game, Paul George is even the second best player. He can't be a second best player on a winning chain. He has to be a Chris Bosh of the Miami Heat, right? He's got to be the third best player at the superstar. He's not even a super. I'm saying, dude, he'll have one good game. He'll have one break, and then he's non-existent for like 3 or 4 more games, and the season's over. Yeah, he can still play good defense, but he can't consistently do it. He can't ever score 30 or more points with Kawhi Leonard, like you just said earlier. Except for that one good series against LeBron, who still averaged over 30 points in that series, mind you. And everyone calling him playoff P, and now that's done with. He's been non-existent ever since. I think for Paul, he has to be the third best star on a super squad team. He can't be the second fiddle. He can't be the Pippen. He can't be the Dwayne Wade. He can't be Klay Thompson or Steph Curry back when Durant was in there. He has to be the third best option, the third scorer where all the pressure's off him. He can just go behind ball. He can't live up to the pressure to what his supermax contract is. So this motion, even I had the Jazz winning even with Kawhi Leonard. So this being, I think the series is over in 6.
Nice. You heard it from the man himself. I apologize, Trey, because I thought you would love LeBron James. I mean, he's the Laker.
What?
I mean, he does play on your favorite team, so I just figured, hey, if he plays for your team, you're probably gonna like him.
When they made that trade, I no longer became. I'm not a Laker guy. I'm not with LeBron. I can't do it. I'm not the only one. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of Laker fans who are jumping off shit because of him this year alone.
Nice. I didn't know at all. I'm gonna apologize because I thought that you were actually, walking to your bedroom and there's like LeBron jerseys and posters and bobbleheads.
Only Derek Jeter, baby. Only Derek Jeter.
Oh, okay. Austin and you are fighting after the show now. I have nothing to do with this now. I have nothing to do with that because that's you and Austin. What we're gonna do is we're gonna move you down next to Austin so y'all can have this little showdown maybe next show. So speaking of something, speaking of coaches, more NBA news came out today, and this is something we'll spend just very little time on. 2 coaches got basically ousted today. Scott Brooks out in Washington, really expected. I mean, he wasn't having much success in Washington. Stan Van Gundy, after 1 season, is gone in New Orleans. Austin brought up something real quick, said, hey, wouldn't it be ideal or funny if Coach Bud is fired after this, which we're assuming they're going to probably lose to the Nets. I mean, last night was a pivotal game. He's fired, coaches the Nets. I mean, Coach Bud has a really good track record, regular season track record.
Yep.
Playoffs is a different thing. So what makes you think, Austin, that Coach Bud going to New Orleans would be a great thing for the Pelicans? Because everybody's screaming 2 specific names right now, Kara Lawson and Becky Hammond. So those women have to get put somewhere possibly. But as far as Coach Bud goes, if he does get fired or basically removed in Milwaukee, going to New Orleans, why would you think that would be a good possibility or even a good fit for New Orleans?
Because you can take advantage of what Van Gundy did, essentially, and you can use Zion like you use Giannis a lot in Milwaukee. And I just think that Point Zion is something that's completely undervalued. If you've ever watched it, and I know Rudy has, I know pretty much everybody has at this point, Point Zion is must-see TV. He's an unstoppable force that, the league hasn't really figured out yet. And sometimes I feel like he gets too timid. Like, he doesn't want to do it. They had these ball screens whenever Zion would run the point, and Lonzo's actually out there too, and they run this little screen, and it's just beautiful. I think Coach Bud would be awesome there, but you got to remember guys like Chauncey Billups. I think Chauncey Billups is going to get hired for sure.
Chauncey Billups.
In this, but I think Chauncey winds up in Boston. It's one of those weird Brad Stevens. Even though there's no connection, there's still a Boston connection there for a minute, and I think that he's kind of perfect for that team. But yeah, that's all I have to say on Van Gundy.
Guys, what are y'all feeling on this coaching moves? I mean, they're pretty expected. I expected, I wasn't surprised by either one, but what do y'all got on them?
Yeah, Van Gundy just wasn't a good fit. I mean, this is a guy that screams too much. He's all over the place, puts a lot of blame on his players all the time.
He makes a porno movie, though.
He probably could.
We should have known.
He probably could, but he just isn't one of those players coaches, right? He's just kind of yelling all the time. Even Dwight Howard would just say, man, these guys just always yelling at something. So just wasn't a good fit. But I think they have a couple. I mean, can we get Mark Jackson in the mix? What around with this guy? This guy can't even get he can't even get a phone call. I mean, Rudy probably get a phone call before Mark Jackson will.
Do you see how he used Steph?
Damn,
I mean, think about it. Think about his time. We're talking about Van Gundy misusing Zion. Mark Jackson didn't know how to use Steph.
Yeah, but you know what? That was a pretty good team, though. I mean, they did make a little noise in the postseason.
They
almost took the Spurs out.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I said they almost took the Spurs out in the semifinals. So
I could definitely see.
So did a terrible Mavericks team that took you to 7 games and you were the 1 seed. Like, it happens. It's playoff basketball. That Mavericks team is terrible.
I just think Mark Jackson at least deserves another shot. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's the best thing since sliced of bread. But even for a few years, Rick Carlisle wasn't doing much in Dallas until he got Luka, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
I think he's at least one shot.
We'll
Is
get to
there
that.
at least a chance to get Mark? Okay, so Mark needs another shot, maybe in the NBA, but why not go after maybe even a college coaching gig for right now?
he doesn't want
Because you
coaching. He
wind up
wants
like
NBA.
Avery Johnson.
It seems like the NBA doesn't want him.
I mean, look at Nate McMillan. This guy should have been a head coach last season. Instead,
Yes, he should have.
he finds his way onto the Atlanta bench, and people forget this guy's, I believe, in the top 12 in wins as a coach. I mean, he's won a lot of games, but it's just one of those things that. But I can never see Bud though, and I think Bud would probably be best case scenario. I get a feeling he's going to get fired, or you can go. What's the guy from the 76ers? Brett Brown from last season. He can always go that direction.
Oh
All right, you
Lord!
guys-
Another
Dear
Spurs
God.
protege. The Spurs protege.
What about
you know?
D'Antoni?
Oh,
You know-
he's proven he can't do it. He can't. His
Over,
system doesn't work.
take over.
Well,
the
hey, if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, and
Oh,
they had a great
No,
shot.
I'm leaving this
They had
stupid
a great
conversation.
shot.
No,
A great shot to win. If Chris
if it
Paul
is,
doesn't
it's
go down,
27. It didn't
Well,
miss
yeah, I
27
mean-
straight threes either, right?
okay,
Give me
so
a
yes,
freaking
so
break.
Game
We got a
7,
discount
of
code.
course.
This is the
was-
same. This is the same Chris Paul that blew a 3-1 lead. Same Chris Paul. You
It
kidding
wasn't
me?
He
just.
blew his
It,
hamstring.
it wasn't just.
I'm just
him.
saying
I mean,
it wasn't a guarantee that he was going to win those two games. Give me a break.
He
The Warriors got
wasn't-
hot when they got
He
hot.
wasn't there though, so we'll
But
never
they missed
know. But I'm just
27
saying,
threes.
potential. They did lose. I mean, listen, they didn't miss all those threes in Game 7, but could he have taken them over the hump in Game 6? We'll never know, but there's a possibility.
Yeah, it's a possibility. There's too many.
I'm
there's
just
too
so
much
tired of
competition
that, man.
for Mark Jackson. I mean, Mark Jackson deserves it. Will he get another shot? There's 8 coaching vacancies right now in the NBA. He's got to fit somewhere in there in one of those spots. I mean, Chauncey Billups is up there. Other names mentioned are Sam Cassell is definitely another guy that should possibly get his first head coaching job. There's so many names out there that he can definitely go with. Obviously, like I said earlier, Carol Lawson and
Jason Kidd.
names that are
Jason
definitely
Kidd.
going to get there. I don't know about Jason Kidd, man. That's a tough one for me. I mean,
I honestly think that he's staying with the Lakers, and this is it for Frank Vogel. I think if he doesn't do anything, Frank Vogel, I think Jason Kidd's going to be the next. Because Ginny Buss wanted Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd, they wanted Jason Kidd.
That's so weird. He just won a title.
yeah.
Well, a lot of people are saying that was because of the bubble and stuff, and you saw what he did. His offense can't score. He's not a great head coach. Let's just be straight honest with ourselves. He's not a great LeBron. That's the stars of the team. AD carried that team. AD and LeBron basically carried that team in the bubble. And you saw what happened this year. He can't figure out substitutions. He can't figure out who to play. For God's sake, we all knew Drummond shouldn't have been in the starting lineup after the first game because he was convincing the land. It's like, no, he's our starting. It took him to almost the elimination game to get him out. He's not a good adjuster. He doesn't make good adjustments at halftime. He just does whatever he wants to. He's just going to live. He's going to be one of those coaches that just got a ring because of LeBron James and Anthony Davis and because of the bubble and the pandemic. That's the only reason. That's the only reason.
Who knows? Maybe Coach Pop will be available soon. Speaking of availabilities, GM, I'm just going to give the platform here because Gio and Trey, we have no reason to comment on this. This 5-minute or maybe even 2-minute platform goes to one person because the only Mavericks fan out of all 4 of us is one Austin Hartsfield right down there, the big Mavericks fan.
I'm a disaster.
Austin. Luka supposedly said, he doesn't agree with front office stuff, and the match was lit. Somebody threw a little gasoline. What happens? Donnie Nelson is going away. Is this Cuban basically saying, okay, Luka, what do you want? Because I'm obviously not going to trade you or anything. What do you want? Give us your take on the Maverick stuff here.
No, Cato came out with this insane article that is just so full of information when it came down to the Mavericks front office and the Mavericks having a shadow GM, which is insane. And not only is he a shadow GM, but he's also a famous Canadian gambler. And it's not just a normal person that should be in a front office. So basically what had come out was that Donnie Nelson was fired today, obviously. It's 24 years. Thank you, Donnie, so much. Thank you for allowing me to witness the championship and break my heart for one more. But, you know, I mean, free throws, but whatever. The Mavericks are going to do what Luka wants, and Luka has called a press conference for tomorrow, and everybody is very curious to see what's going on in that press conference because, by all accounts, Luka and Donnie were really tight. And when Donnie was fired today, there was kind of a shockwave sent through the Mavs fan base where we were like, wait, really? Like this Shadow GM story comes out and the next day Donnie's fired? What I actually think happened, I actually think that Donnie was done doing this whole Shadow GM thing and being told what to do and being undermined, because the report is that Voulgaris basically has control of the lineup, gives Carlisle input, which is something that would not have happened 5 years ago, would not have happened 10 years ago. And I think that it was part of an agreement that everybody kind of got to stay on board, to where this person would come in, they would kind of put their input in, and he slowly gained power. This is something that none of the Mavs fans were really aware about, and you need to do what your star wants. If it's saying goodbye to 24 years of a GM, that's fine. Donnie's made some mistakes recently. Obviously, we have the Porzingis trade, we have the Rondo trade, which is an unmitigated disaster. Like, it's one of the worst things ever to happen in my life, and I love Rondo. I love Rondo more than anything, just about. But Donnie made mistakes. Luka needs to be taken care of. He's a top 5 player in the league already, and he needs help. And maybe a change is fit, but there were reports earlier today that Voulgaris could have been fired too, but I haven't seen anything confirmed on that, so I don't really want to go there.
Yeah, I just ordered my Luka Doncic Spurs jersey, so just in case.
Oh, good Lord! I got a question.
What's up?
Is Cuban take majority of the blame for what's happening in Dallas? Because remember, he won a 2011 championship, and then he tore it up, and then now he doesn't want to sign a lot. He wants to save money, right? I mean, he doesn't want to go out and sign these big free agents and everything like that. So is Cuban kind of like the Jerry Jones of that, because he's too good? Like, does he have a lot of say so?
I don't know.
We did after 2011.
I don't necessarily think that they're not going after the free agents. I think that it's that Dallas isn't a destination where constantly people's second choices. We finally have a draw in Luka, which is going to be very different, but we're to the point to where we almost have zero cap space besides Tim Hardaway coming off. So that's a pretty big contract there. But it's just, we've always whiffed, like whether it's Dwight Howard, whether it's Darren Williams at first. I mean, the list could go on and on. LaMarcus Aldridge is a big one. That was a big shot to the gut for that city. Because everybody was convinced he was a DFW kid. We were like, oh, it's going to be great to watch him play next to Dirk, because it's basically two people doing the exact same thing to an extent. And we kind of got punched in the gut because we didn't even think that was a possibility. So, yeah, Cuban's trying, but he came out and said that the story was BS, which just doesn't seem right.
Okay. So one last question, make it quick.
Yeah.
Tim Hardaway Jr., y'all signing him next year?
Timmy's very polarizing for me. He's polarizing for the entire Mavs base, and I would think that they bring him back. And if they don't, I would be shocked. I would predict that they either bring him back or bring Brunson back. I personally love Jalen Brunson a lot. I think that he's a great person to run your second unit, but I don't think that they're going to want to pay him $15 million to run the second unit. So I think that they bring Hardaway back instead for what they have.
Yeah, I think the problem this year with the Mavs is seeing letting Steph Curry walk. Right, you needed Seth Curry.
Yeah, 100%.
You see what if you would have had Seth Curry in this year, y'all would have beat the Clippers easily.
The funny thing is, it makes you think: is that a Haralabob move, or is that a Donnie move? You think about every single Mavs move since 2017, because from what I've listened to all day, Haralabob was really, really big on Luka. You know, he was one of the bigger people on Luka. So you get that tidbit of information, and then you get the tidbit in the report, and you're like, these really line up. But
All right.
it was definitely an interesting day in Mavs land.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Luka
definitely.
needs to work on his free throw shooting. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, you're telling
Maybe
me.
that's why his press conference.
Press conference. I'm working on my free throw shooting.
It's kind of.
I hired a coach.
bad that you got Luka,
Talk to Steve Nash, man. Come on.
Ben Simmons, Giannis. They all can't shoot free throws, but they're better players. One of the best
It's
players
our
in the league
complex
and all that
now.
stuff. So, speaking of the best players, we're moving from best players to best teams, and we're talking NFL teams. Surprise! Gio's making it rain.
Hey, that's Luka right there for you, Austin.
And NFL surprise teams. We're gonna spend some few minutes on this. I told Gio, don't pick the Rams. Come on. I mean, let's not go that route. I know you Rams over. You got to give me something different. I'm gonna give you mine first. I'm gonna let you guys take the standing, but this is my bold prediction. It is what June 16th. My bold prediction for surprise team and surprise Super Bowl appearance. And Gio's going to call me a damn jinx. The Los Angeles Rams will make the Super Bowl this season.
He's jinxing.
And it says I have the right to change my pick throughout the year, which I do. The addition of one Matthew Stafford was massive for the Rams. I actually have them ranked in my top 5 for power rankings going into this season. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Taylor Rapp. I mean, the defense is there. The offense, you still got Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, Cooper Kupp. You have a Cam Akers at running back who got started last year. And it's kind of funny because you laugh at a Deshaun Jackson signing, for the Rams at wide receiver. But on the offensive side, where I think they are going to see a difference is on the wide receiver part. But because of one Tutu Atwell, the player they drafted. Tutu Atwell to go along with the unknown until Gio told us Van Jefferson makes that wide receiving core stout. It is massive. You throw in a better quarterback than Jared Goff like Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay is going to go somewhere this year. So I'm saying the LA Rams are my surprise team. I have them going to the Super Bowl. And like I said, the very, very small fine print says I can change my pick throughout the year at any given time. Guys, give me y'all's surprise NFL teams going into the season. Which team will be the biggest surprise? Gio, what is your surprise team?
Also, another guy to watch out for the Rams, tight end Jacob Harris. He's been kind of the talk of camp. Tyler Higbee is obviously going to start, but Jacob Harris is a kid from UCF that, he runs a 4.3 at tight end. He could potentially look pretty good in offense. I'm going to go with one team that Austin knows very well, and that's the New England. That's the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. What does he have up his sleeve? A team that last year, was just god awful. They could not score points at all. It was just murderous roll. I think the Patriots, the additions of Jonnu Smith, a team that now seems to have some firepower on offense. Bill Belichick, give him a full offseason, no COVID, some guys coming back on defense. I think the Patriots potentially could set up for a nice run, Super Bowl run. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely a team that is going to give the Bills a pretty good run. Plus, they had the Bills one game if it wasn't for Cam Newton fumbling in the fourth quarter. Another team, I'm going to give some love to Chucky and those Las Vegas Raiders. I'm waiting, man. I'm waiting. That 10-year contract. You're still coaching with this team. I'm going to give the Raiders a shot. If he can figure this out, a team that potentially can make a decent run. But the number one team, I hate to say it because they've beaten the Rams in 2 Super Bowls. I'm going with Bill Belichick here.
Bill Belichick.
Right there with you.
Yeah, Austin, since you agree with Gio, what's your surprise team? You got the Patriots, obviously, is what you're saying. So what do you got on the Patriots for us as your surprise team?
It's just the free agency ads, again, giving Bill a full offseason. That's huge. I don't think people realize that. Like you're giving the greatest coach and one of the greatest I'm trying to figure out what the word is. Whatever. Collector of talent is essentially what I'm trying to say. There's an A word in there that I'm not digging for. But I think a lot depends. I actually have faith in Mac Jones. I don't know why. Even we talked about on draft night that none of us really loved him, but I like him more than Cam Newton. So I mean, there's always that. That's the real aspect of it.
And apparently he looks better in OTAs and everything going.
That was a weird video. That was weird. He's throwing like 10 miles an hour.
I cannot see the video with Cam Newton. I mean, that's typical Cam Newton. His scarves looked better than what his passes were in those videos, but that's typical Cam Newton. The guy I couldn't see when he was drafted him being an elite QB. I mean, outside of running the ball and being tough to tackle, that's it. I didn't ever think he was an elite passer or anything like that. Trey, are you jumping on the Patriots bandwagon, or are you going with your favorite hometown team?
How about them Cowboys?
Because the Cowboys could be a surprise team. I mean, they very well could be.
Well, I mean, yeah, but we say this every year, right? Every year, the Cowboys are
every year.
It'll be a surprise team, okay? Yeah, the Cowboys can go 13-3 this year, be the first seed, and then have a heartbreaking playoff loss in the first round, divisional round, like we always do. And to answer your question about New England, hell no, I'm not buying the New England Patriots stock. I don't trust Cam Newton. I don't trust Cam Newton. Mac Jones. They don't have a top right receiver that they're going to throw in. How are they going to score points? How are they going to score? I just don't see it. But you could be wrong. I mean, they'll win like 9, maybe go 9 and wherever it is this year. 9 and 8. I forgot that I can't do math in my head that quick because they had
the 17 games is throwing everybody off.
But yes, honestly, I'm not expecting to make a Super Bowl run or anything, but I'm telling you, watch out for the Cincinnati Bengals this year.
That's decent.
Yes,
I would agree with that. That's a very good pick.
They could make. They're going to be in the running late in the year. I don't know, because that division is heavy from top to bottom. You have Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland's on the rise. They say OBJ's looking really. It doesn't even look like he had a major surgery this season. He looks like better than ever. That's reports off minicamp. Every team says, "Oh, they look great. They look great." They say Dak looks great. I don't want to see it. I won't believe it until I see it with my own eyes. But I think Cincinnati will make some noise in the AFC this year. I think they'll possibly make a playoff push. But I mean, I like what the Rams did, but I'm not truly sold on Matthew Stafford. I got to see how he's going to fit with his Rams, because can he stay healthy for 17 games too? I know he had a bad offensive line in Detroit, and LA is going to help him with that. And the McShay's offense is a lot better, getting the ball out quicker and stuff like that. But it's going to take time, I think, to gel with that. And I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Packers, I don't trust, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play this year. I think he's going to go Jeopardy. Bears, I think the Bears are going to make a deep playoff run. I think Justin Fields is going to be Rookie of the Year. I'm going to tell everyone on that on draft night. He should have been the number 2 overall quarterback picked overall. But then I think it's going to – I actually have no surprise in the Super Bowl this year. I think it's going to be a repeat from last year. I do. I don't see any teams beating any of these teams.
The Rams are going to beat Tampa in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, good Lord. Only if they're hurt.
The man is jumping on my Super Bowl pick here. He is jumping.
I already have them going to the Super Bowl, but I don't want you to jinx it, though.
I got a question for Rudy.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah. What's up?
Oh, go ahead, Trey.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, for Rudy's pick, we should have had the Charles Barkley guarantee buzzer, baby. Have something like Paul.
Jeez, what do you got, Austin?
How can we talk about a player who I think is going to be better than people think? And y'all already know who's coming out of my mouth, and y'all already don't believe it. I think Carson Wentz is going to be fine. I think he's going to be protected.
Oh, I think Homer.
No,
yes, absolutely.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, Colts offensive line, check, right? I mean, way better than what he had in the Eagles.
I mean, Ryan Kelly, Braden Smith. I mean, Eric Fisher. I mean, the list goes on.
Well, and he's also reunited with Frank Wright, who made him. Oh, he should have been MVP that one year if it wasn't for that ACL tear. I will give you that. He's going to a system that he already knows, right? So and his line's already better. But I don't know. I have to see it because I still picture him with the Eagles and how awful he was. Airballing throws, airmailing them, whatever. I mean,
I think he could have a rebirth. I think with a new place, a new city, right? He's coming in, a really good offensive line, a team that kind of has done very well the past 2 seasons. I think he can come in and play well. Yeah, with a mediocre guy who throws a shot put last year, right? So I think given the opportunity, I think Carson's going to have a rebirth of that mind, because sometimes as a quarterback, you keep getting hit, and it's just you just keep, things just keep happening to you in the pocket. But if he can have that rebirth, I think him and I think Matthew Stafford's going to have a good year.
Oh, how comfortable get off here. Oh, my God. Dak Prescott's going to be MVP this year.
So we're going to move on here.
He's making like $100 million. He better.
We got about 17 minutes here. As we always end the show, Tales from the Sunshine State, our boy, Coach Gio, a Florida native. And, of course, look at him. He is a crazy son of a bitch. So he did live in Florida for a while. He's got all of our Tales from the Sunshine State, all the crazy news coming out. Gio, we always go to you on this. We'd like to end the show with some crazy, weird news. What do you have for us today? Because I know one of them, I think, was a man stealing money and eating it.
So a Florida man was arrested after snatching a woman's $5 bill and eating it in her face. She ended up calling the cops, and apparently he could have been on drugs. The article wasn't very specific on what exactly was wrong with him. But I also posted a throwback today. A Florida security guard a few years ago, I actually remember this. He was documenting him farting in his own office. And he actually got fired. So I'm going to see if I can actually play some of this so you guys can actually get an idea of what kind of what kind of farts this guy was working with, because it was pretty intense. Like it wasn't just like a small fart, right? It's like one of those, and he ended up getting fired. So let's go ahead and let's play it.
So he got fired for farting.
Well, he's documenting on YouTube farting at his company. Hold up. And he's just farting for like 10 minutes.
I just imagine new viewers
It's
have
Paul
never
Blart.
watched the show before. Like, can you imagine new viewers that have never watched the show before and get this far, and they're like, "Wow, we might like this," and then we get to this, and they're like,
then we get to
"What
happened?
Also, we had a guy from Florida apparently dressing half woman, half man. This was another one here that I posted a few days ago. Couldn't really figure out what part of Florida, but
you do you.
It's Florida,
it
dude.
Sounds just about right.
It's Florida. Now,
and also,
my question is posed to you because I asked you on Twitter, are we going to get you to do that on one of the shows? Dress exactly like that. Half man, half woman.
No. Because
what would it take for that?
Whatever credibility I even have would literally go down the drain.
All right. I mean, I get that. If we started a GoFundMe account and we raised $1,000, would you do that on video?
$1,000?
$1,000. I mean, on a GoFundMe, I think people would pitch in $500.
I'm not dressing up as a half man, half woman.
$1,001.
Because we would get the 1,000.
You know what? You guys probably would get to 1,000.
In 30 minutes, we'll get it.
We're talking like a minute of you on video, half man, half woman, like that. That's it. No,
maybe if the Rams win the Super Bowl, but
okay. So there you go.
I may be a little.
It's recorded.
Potentially.
If the Rams win the Super Bowl,
possible. Potentially.
We get half man and not half amazing, half man, half womanized.
I'm not even sure how to do what the heck this guy just did in that picture.
It looks
like
challenging.
Get a wig, man. Cut it in half. Get half of the dress. Glue it all together. Whatever. I don't care.
There's some sewing involved.
Yeah, we can definitely get the sewing part.
Not to change the subject, but I have a Tales from the Motor City here. So this guy, Tales from the Motor City, he had a $30,000 lottery ticket he won. And he goes out there and buys a $20,000 chain, and someone
I saw
snatches
that.
the chain. And someone snatches the chain from him, and he's showboating out there, and they snatch it. So you lose all that money, and you buy a $20,000 chain. Really, dude?
$30,000, and you go and buy it was $29,000, I think, chain.
It's like spending what we did on Porzingis.
Yeah, so he has basically no money.
Oh man.
So
that's the news. We get the news from Gio all the time. That's how we end the show, but we still have a good maybe 8 minutes here. So I'm actually going to end it on a different note here, because Austin, Trey, and myself were on at 7:00. You strolled in here a few minutes late. I told you I was going to end the show with this. You said you were on a phone call. I get to play 20 questions with you. Was it a work phone call?
Dang.
No, it's not a work phone call, but
okay.
I do have 2 work phones here, by the way.
Okay. So you're balling. You got 2 phones. It had nothing to do with work. Was it a guy on the other line?
No.
Okay. So we're gonna assume it was a woman on the other line now. Okay.
Well,
I got 18 more questions. 18 more questions. Do you have a date this weekend?
I thought we were ending the show.
We are. It's counting down. We're getting there. Do you have a date this weekend?
No, I don't have a date.
All right, so we're not quite there yet. That's my 3. I mean, did these guys want to ask you something or not? We can end the show if they don't want to ask you. But
maybe I was on a phone with Sean McVay, maybe.
But you said it wasn't a guy. You said it wasn't a guy.
Remember through a lot of hula hoops to this.
Yeah, I mean, you said it wasn't a guy. So I'm not saying that you have a date. I'm not saying, whatever. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this, because normally, like I said, you're making a keto meal, or you're hanging your dog outside of the balcony because you're pissed off.
Don't call anybody.
I ate before I actually got on here.
No, man, we're just messing with you. Obviously.
No, I know.
We know you were calling one of those 900 numbers. I mean, it's
that's still a thing.
I think so.
Rudy apparently knows it's a thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I called one this morning because I had to get the excitement out of the way early in the morning, knowing I had all these damn podcasts to do tonight.
Oh, Lord.
But we're just messing with you, man. We want the best for you. We want to make sure that if it's something that leads to another step in life, that which we're gonna automatically assume she is well taken care of and has like millions of dollars for you, because you deserve to be a millionaire. You deserve to be Austin Hartsfield status is what you deserve to be.
Well, that's tough to
Poor?
live up to.
We can't poor. He says poor. Yeah, he says poor, but yet he has everything in the world, more than all of us combined here.
Listen, I went to community college, okay? I'm poor.
Hey, at least you went to college. I couldn't even get through freaking ITT Tech, man. Jeez. That's like lower.
Wait, is that still a school?
No, I don't think actually shut it down. The year I was there, they shut it down because of all the stupid.
Well, because
that was going on.
What's happening with those schools, they're all for profit. And then they're like scamming people to come in and thinking, hey, I'm accredited, when you're really not.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The University of Phoenix. It's not real.
I think that school's okay, though. I think it's all right, but there's been a lot of heat on them. I think about 10 years ago, they were like on the forefront. Like, is this really a degree or what? Like,
hey, Trey,
they're still open.
Did Trey go to school?
Yeah, actually, I had like 68 credits.
So from where though? Don't be ashamed to say it.
Oh, I local school, private institute, D3 school, Shriner University here in Kerrville.
I know Shriner very well. I know Shriner very well.
Thing about going back, and then I tried the Dan Patrick Full Sail broadcasting thing. That didn't work out so well for me.
Why you couldn't stop?
Yeah, first I went to community college. I think that's honestly, if anyone's listening, I think honestly, in serious note, that's what you need to do. Go to community college first, get your credit, because the first 2 years of college, anyway, is freaking basics, and that's what you're getting out of
Save the
community college.
money.
You're not paying off.
Save the
Exactly.
money, like Ray say.
Or
Trust me
hell,
on
go
this.
to a trade school. Go to a freaking trade school, man. They're making more like
No,
mechanics,
didn't-
plumbers, engineers, electricians. They're making shitload of money now.
Didn't
Are we
work for
giving
me.
advice to the
Yeah.
kids out there now?
I am.
I
I'm
can
all
kind
about
of
the kids,
picture,
Austin.
you know, I can kind of picture Rudy fixing like a plumbing issue and going to the home and then potentially farting in that home. I don't know why I had that in my head.
Well, hey, once I install the toilet, I've got to make sure it works, right? So, I mean, I'm going to drop a deuce on there to make sure that it's working properly. I mean, that's the plumbing way to do things, I'm sure. But you could be like me and turn down multiple free rides to college and apply to one school, which was the greatest school in all the land, the University of North Carolina. I applied. They sent me a letter, basically said to F off because you're stupid and you're never going to have any of the grades or smarts to get
That's
in
what
here.
Texas said to me.
I basically smiled and said, thank you. I never went to any college of that until, well, my current wife said, you should try college. I said, okay, you're right. Let me take out this $50,000 loan to go to ITT for 2 months and then it shuts down. I go to DeVry for a couple of months. Didn't quite make it there. That's my story. I can't make it anywhere in college. You guys are the college geniuses in this and all of this right here.
Terrible student.
Apparently not. Apparently not, because I only have 2 years left and I quit. So apparently I'm not.
You're on a hiatus. You didn't quit.
Well, it's a long hiatus. It's been 4 years, and now I have a wife and a 3-year-old, and I have no time to myself. So I don't think I have time to go to school.
Y'all want the most random question ever?
Yeah, give it to us. We got about 5 minutes.
Do you think you would be a good college basketball recruiter?
Me?
I had this discussion with somebody today, and they were like, "Hey, do you think that you'd be a good recruiter?" And no, absolutely not.
Okay.
I was just curious to see if anybody was confident in their persuasive
I've got to ask you a question with this question. I got to ask you a question with a question. Do I have free reign over everything as a recruiter?
So like stripper money and
like cheating what North Carolina does? I don't know.
Let's go full scale. Let's go full scale SMU. Like you can do it.
Okay.
My grandmother.
Express.
As a college recruiter, I guarantee every single player I talk to will play for the team that I'm recruiting for, the school that I'm recruiting for. If it's a basketball team, I'll have a list of 20 players on a waiting list just to come into that damn school. Because if you give me free reign, I'm going to put so much talented women on their laps and give them just about anything they want. They will be begging to get into that school. That is me. I don't know about you guys, but that's me.
My team would have a lot of small white guys. Like, the only people that I can connect
be a
to.
good recruiter. I don't know. That's actually a good question. I have no idea, but I think I can talk myself into some 5-star recruits that can play at Georgia.
All right. Speaking of recruiter thing, like I said, we got a few minutes here. Let's try to experiment if you guys want to. I know Trey's going to say no. Gio's probably going to say no. Austin's not going to care because Austin just doesn't give a damn. Me, I would probably get divorced, but it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Well, I'll work it out with my wife. We'll see what happens. Let's go on this recruiting tour. Can we recruit X number of women on Tinder? Can we get replies back from whoever gets the most replies back on Tinder? That'll be a recruiting thing for us here. How smooth are you?
I'm a free agent right now, so
you are a free agent, but I didn't know if you would be down. Trey's not a free agent. Austin is just too much in the limelight and celebrity limelight.
I'm kind of a free agent, not really though. I guess another thing.
I'm as free as you can get.
Exactly. That phone call. Austin, what? Are you a free agent?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. Forever.
He paused though. He was like, "Yeah, I'm a free agent."
No. There's no pause. I only paused because Rudy had to delay a little bit. There was no pause, no hesitation. Free as hell.
So this might have to be a recruiting thing here. Who's the best recruiter? Austin posed the question. Who's the best recruiter? Well, obviously we can't recruit for a school, but we can try and do the Tinder recruiting scene here. It's going to be kind of hard for me to explain to my wife on that, but
Yeah, I'm not touching this one.
I told you. I told you.
Trey's gonna get in trouble.
I'm not only gonna get in trouble, but my parents too, man. Like, hell no.
You're telling me. My mom watches every single one of these.
Exactly.
Oh,
My mom's watching
yeah.
right now, probably shaking her head. She's like, what
Casey,
the
I'm
hell are you talking
sorry.
about
I'm
strippers
corrupting
for?
your son. I'm
Well,
sorry.
and she
but
always shares it. She always shares it. She's like, "That's my kid," and I'm like, maybe not."
Austin's family. I'm sorry. He came on the wrong show.
Wait,
But
did she
damn it,
ever
Austin, you
share?
asked the wrong question.
Wait, did she ever share the Rated R podcast?
I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
if she ever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, she did. Okay.
She would like call me afterwards and be like, "So," I'll be like,
I know. I'm surprised she even talks to
We
me.
didn't talk
when I
about
see
baseball.
her. I'm surprised she even talks to me when I see her. I know for a fact she probably throws me the finger when my back's turned to her. I'm pretty sure that's a guarantee. So are we down
No,
for
my
this
mom
right
was.
here? Are we down for the Tinder recruiter challenge? I want to say Trey's
First of all,
out.
I'm already
obviously,
basically
I'm out.
doing it. It's not working.
It's not okay. Then you know what? Forget it. We are gonna help Austin recruit on Tinder. Which
Oh,
one of
man.
us can get Austin the most dates on Tinder? That's
What have
the
I
way
done?
we gotta do this.
Are we making a fake page with Austin's photos? Like, what are we doing here?
I can put him on sweeptheleague.com and get links and everything to it. I don't care. I mean,
Please don't put me on Craigslist. That's all I ask.
Oh,
Yo,
we're
sexual
all going to
encounters?
jail. We're all going to jail, man. Hell no. Put it on
The
Craigslist.
casual encounter. Put him in the casual encounter section of the Craigslist.
Casual encounter.
Just put me
I
right
don't
next to
remember
the bowl.
I was gonna put him in the collectible section of Craigslist or something like that.
Put me in the
man.
action figure section of eBay.
The toy section. Austin wants to be a toy for one lucky woman out there. So you know what? Okay, this actually might have to be a thing here. We're gonna have to do some digging on this here because our boy.
This is the start of a movie.
This is definitely a start of a movie. It's going to be better than The Hangover, better than Super Bad. We're going to have to come up with a good name for this. But Tinder for Austin, who's the best recruiter? Who can get Austin the most dates? I will swipe right. Is it
We
right
can get
or
Austin
left?
a date.
Right?
Well, if
Is it right? That means
you got to swipe right because left
Okay.
you say
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
okay. So
I don't know.
As much as
Stop
I
lying, Trey. You know what it is.
Dude, Tinder came out after I got married, and I don't know. I don't know Bumble. I don't know Tinder. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's heard of
I
Bumble.
don't
though.
know.
I was going to say I don't even know what Bumble is. What is Bumble?
The only reason I know
Tinder's
Bumble.
better.
Yeah,
It's
Bumble. The
because
girl
you
has
go
to
on-
write you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The only reason I know Bumble is because when I'm going through TikTok late at night, because that's what I do, right?
I don't.
It's a Bumble
I don't
ad.
really use
Bumble ad.
because I can't use Bumble because they have to talk to you first, and whenever you see the pictures, you're just like, ugh.
All right, we got less than a
Like,
minute.
wow.
Here. So we got less than a minute.
Sorry, Mom.
We've talked NFL, we've talked NBA. Gio brought us Tell Sunshine State. We have an issue. We have a challenge issued. Austin posed the question: would we be good recruiters?
Way to go, Austin.
Obviously, we are because we're going to go on the Austin Hartsfield Tinder recruiting challenge. We'll have details on that very, very soon. Apologies to Stacey Hartsfield because I know she's probably getting ready to call Austin right now and blow up
Sorry,
his
Jeff.
ear and his phone and everything.
Sorry,
We're
Dad.
done, guys. We've swept the league. We've swept all the leagues again here on Wednesday. Join us next week, 7 to 8 again. Coast to Coast Network, my page, Geo page, everybody's page. Maybe by then we'll have Austin 10 dates. Well, we'll figure it out. But for Gio, for Trey, for Austin Hartsfield, I'm Rudy Campos Jr. Thank you for sweeping this league again. And remember, if you have a problem with that, no mercy, guys. We'll see y'all next week.